Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome back to episode number 32 of the Workbench After Hours podcast. Just Chris and I this week. So we're going to be talking to you about some gun stuff, and we are going to start off with the whiskey of the week.
Well, it looks like the whiskey of the week is Keeper's Heart. It's a Irish whiskey, an American whiskey blend, it looks like. So came us with this nice little card.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I guess it's really made of three different types of whiskeys. You got your Irish grain whiskey. It's about, they said 43%. It's 4 years old. Then they also mix it with Irish pot still whiskey, which I don't know what a pot still is. It's also aged for 4 years, 43%. And then an American rye is added to it, and it's also aged about 4 years, and it's 43%. So the profiles, they say it's going to be oaky, caramel, vanilla flavored with malty biscuits, cooked with fruits, citrus, and baking spices, and vibrant fruit notes of mulling spices. So we'll see if we can taste all that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is new here or not, but the liquor store that is right down the street from us was giving out free samples, and Marie's brother tried it because they were pushing him to try it pretty hard. So I think they're trying to get this out, and he tried it, said he really, really liked it. And Marie had some too. And she's like, yeah, you guys should have this on the podcast. I think you guys will like it. Since we did really like that Jameson Black Barrel.
Yeah.
That stuff was so good. So yeah, let's give it a try. It's not terrible. I'd say it
tastes like a Scotch blend almost.
It does. There's really you don't have any of that charred flavor like you did with the Jameson Black.
No.
But it's not
terrible.
No, there's no like really bite to it. It doesn't really burn. Of course, we're drinking it on the rocks.
Yeah.
So that helps. But
I'm not really getting any of the fruity notes.
I am a little bit on the very front end, but after that, then it's definitely an Irish whiskey for sure.
Yeah. Oh no.
But it was less. It was like $27, I think. So not terrible. A lot less. It's probably about $7 less than the Jameson Black Barrel that we like.
Yeah, that's hard to beat, the Jameson.
Oh yeah, that stuff is real smooth. I mean, this is good too. It's smooth. I think I still prefer the Jameson Black Barrel.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got kind of a weird, flavoring profile on the palate.
Keeper's Heart.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, it's new. I have not seen this bottle before, but yeah,
it's different.
Guys are trying any whiskeys, give it a shot. It's a cheap one to try, and especially if you like Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
So cool. Awesome. So our one of my buddies gave me an idea for the podcast that I think we're going to do for a little while and see how it goes, is doing a gun of the week. Because we had been doing, what did we do in guns this week? Well,
we haven't been too much.
Being not a whole lot. So none of us really go shooting a whole lot just because ammo's expensive and trying to find the time is really hard right now. So we figured he had a good idea of trying to do a gun of the week or a caliber of the week. But I thought it'd be good of just the gun of the week and having somebody talk about, it can be any gun, whether it's a gun that you have that you really like or a gun that's on your radar. Just, have a little segment about whatever gun that you want to talk about. And yeah, some gun related to talk about and keep consistent. So I gave you the first assignment to pick the first gun of the week.
I know.
And so what'd you come up with?
I was going to bring up the Sig P320.
Okay.
Since I know, what was it, probably 4 years ago maybe now, since the whole military bid went out for the new handgun of selection. I know it was between Glock, obviously, Sig, and I believe it was the Smith & Wesson MP 2.0.
Yeah, it's been a few years now.
Yeah, it's probably been, I think, around that time frame. But they ended up going with the Sig P320. So that was my gun of the week. I've had one Sig, my Sig P250, and right about that time I was also looking at the Sig P360, and I got my Sig on a good deal, so that's why I didn't go with it. But I think it's not a hammer fire like the older my P250 was. I think it's striker fire, if I remember. And I don't know, Sigs they're a whole other breed of gun. It looks like they're very modular. Pretty much you can buy their little upgrade kit for like $400 to change calibers. So if you're looking at like pretty much one gun to do everything, you could probably get a Sig and then just spend the extra money for barrel replacement and frame, because really the trigger assembly pops out. Since it's a modular design, it pops into the next frame. So really you just need the barrel really, and magazine and frame.
Nice.
So
I might pop up some B-roll of the gun. I forgot to do that, but I'll pop some in there just so people can see what it is. So is it a compact, full size?
They got them in compact and full size. I don't know what the military went with, if it was the compact or the full size though.
Okay, full size probably being a 5-inch barrel.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the compact size was, but they're different too, because if you start messing with the frames, I know some of the frames don't line up.
Oh yeah,
quite a bit. I learned that the hard way.
Because I know, or did they come out with like a tan color for the submission?
Yeah, they got a FDE. They got a olive dab green, which is what my P250 was, and it's like a kind of a darker green. It almost looks black, but it's green colored, and then, of course, you're black.
Nice.
So
all sorts of calibers.
Oh yeah,
just your general. What caliber did they submit for the military?
I would think it was a 9mm.
Okay.
Because the Berettas we use were 9mm, so I'm guessing it'd be 9mm for your hip carry.
Okay, sweet. So it's one you have.
I've looked at them. I used to have the old P250.
Is it on your radar?
It was at one point. It's not anymore. The gun really on my radar right now is a 1911 45.
Yep.
So.
Me too. You just can't find them. Any of the good ones anyway.
Yeah.
You can find the cheap ones, but
we don't want that.
No, we both like the Springfield one, the TPR operator that I had, and I'm waiting for them to come back in stock. Trust me, but
yeah,
I have not seen them. I would really love a Wilson Combat 1911.
I would too, unless I win Mega Millions tonight. Yeah. That's the only way I'm getting one.
I don't care which one. I just want one.
Yeah,
they're freaking awesome, but yeah, they're expensive. But again, you get what you pay for. Each one of their guns is custom built. Tight specs, and gonna be super reliable. So it's like they have the cheap ones, like you get those SDS imports, and the Kimbers. When I first started getting into guns, I'm like, oh, Kimber. I thought that was like a really good brand, and I'm like, cool, and they do make cool looking 1911s, but there's a lot of issues with reliability with the Kimbers.
Yeah, I've heard like if you're gonna go and you want to buy your self-defense rounds, that they usually will jam up and you can't even fire one. So they're real picky on what type of ammo it is, and
that's not what you want.
Yeah, they're a pretty gun.
Yeah,
I mean, I could give them that. They look really good, but when you're wanting a gun for reliability, probably gonna go with something else.
One of Marie's cousins bought a Micro 9 from me, a Kimber. It was the bitone with the rose wood grips, I think it was. So I'm interested to see how it works for them. Because he wants his wife to use it for a concealed carry gun. So after a while, I'm going to see how his results were with it.
Yeah, I'd make sure you go fire different ammos, see which ones jam up, and
hopefully none. But
yeah, hopefully. But I definitely know self-defense rounds Kimbers do not tend to like.
Right, man. Well, that's cool. Sig P320.
Yep.
All right, that is our gun of the week. So again, I'm going to try and put some B-roll up of the 320 so you guys can see what it is, and we'll come up with one again next week.
Yeah, and they're not too bad in price either. I think they're about $500, so
that's not bad.
Average price pretty much for your gun.
I'm not a huge SIG guy. I'm a every other, like Glock, Springfield Armory, Smith & Wesson. I just don't like the way the SIGs fit my hand.
Yeah. I mean, I used to hear SIG was the gun back in the day, so that's the only reason I bought it, because I was coming down between that and the Glock 19 actually, and I went to the gun show. They didn't have any Glock 19s, and they had that P250, and then I bought it. had it for like 3 years, and I was like, I do not like a hammer gun.
No.
Just because you cannot feel where it was different every time, it seemed like.
You get that really long take up
Yep.
the first time, and it's just not comfortable.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. I do not like those double action hammer fired guns at all.
Yeah,
I prefer striker fired.
I mean, if I could take it to a gunsmith and get a lighter trigger, maybe, but that hammer fire was weird.
Right.
So
nice. Well, cool. Well, I'm trying out a different microphone this week, and it's if you guys are watching this on YouTube, it's basically the Elvis microphone.
yeah, pretty much.
It's a Shure Super 55, and it's really cool. I think they came out with these in 2009. It's actually a dynamic microphone, and it's the same company that you have, the Shure SM7B. Shure makes both of them, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's chrome, but then on the inside, like the felt, like the built-in pop filter's blue. It's awesome. I just like blue stuff.
Yeah.
So it looks really cool, and it's awkward to mount to a boom arm because these are really meant for those stand-up microphones.
Yep.
Like you know when you see Elvis waving around with them.
Singing.
So that's really what it's meant for. And I had a small little microphone stand that I actually used it on the podcast with your wife last weekend, and it did okay, but you're stuck
In that little
area. And in order to lean back, I had it kind of hanging off the side. And I'm like, this isn't very fun. So I got this extension for it. And in order for me to keep it upright, it looks a little weird. I have to have the boom arm at a weird angle, but I just think it looks cool. It brings a cool visual appeal to it. And yeah, it's just that 1950s style microphone. It's really awesome. So if you guys are just listening to this on the audio only, look it up. It's really cool. The Shure Super 55. It's really cool.
Yep.
And it sounds good. And it's a super directional cardioid pickup pattern, so it's going to pick up only what's in front of it. It's even more than that SM7B you got. Like, it's really tight.
Huh.
So this would be a really bad microphone for Hunter.
Yeah.
So he would, So I'm putting him back on the worker bee after that last episode. We were having I don't know, there was something going on with the audio. I don't know what it was, if it was the microphone, the cable, or because I had 3 microphones with boosters and 1 not. But Austin's was at the beginning. I don't know if you could tell, I tried to boost the sound in post, but like I could not hear him talking at all. And we switched microphones and still the same thing. I had to really turn up his volume, and we had Hunter on a dynamic microphone too, so I don't know if that played a thing. But yeah, the audio last week was I was off my game. I don't know what was going on, but this week it's a little bit better, I think. So Hunter's definitely going back on the worker bee though. I think that is a great mic for him because he can move around.
Yeah, he likes to move around way too much.
Yeah, because like for this one, if you turn your head and you don't move into the microphone, you're going to lose that volume.
Yep.
So so this is definitely not a mic for him, but yeah, check it out. I will eventually do a review on it on the Shotgun Studio YouTube channel. So keep a lookout for that. It's really cool. And I keep it up on there on the shelf with all my other microphones, but this one's it's really cool. And then I got the blue cable to go with the blue mesh on it. Yeah.
Man, matching over here.
I know, right? It's really cool. So, yeah. Well, anything interesting happened this week?
Not really.
Your world?
Not really. Just trying to help the wife get her YouTube started up.
Yeah, we recorded 2 for her last week.
Yeah.
She did the first one with her and Marie, and she was drinking white wine. And then her and I recorded a podcast right after, and I think that she was starting to feel that white wine because she was talking. Like, she was going on and on. I'm like, oh, man, I barely got anything in there. I think it's 85% her talking, and I talk a little bit. But I'm in the process of editing. I got them done. I got the edits put together because she's doing it on YouTube and also audio only. So I got both files, but we just need to put that
intro, outro,
in
let it
there.
run over.
Yeah, and get her to upload it, and that way she can schedule it everything, and she doesn't have to worry about it. It's nice when you can do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, I'm gonna have this go out, say August 1st, and then she's got 3 of them built up. So then she wants to do it bi-weekly. So she's got
2 episodes already ready to go after that. So.
Yeah, so she doesn't have to worry like for almost a month for recording her next one.
Jeez, must be nice.
I know. We're gonna have to start doing that.
Yeah.
Once it comes close to October and Hunter's having his baby.
Yep.
Because he says he's gonna have more time, but there's no way.
Nope. I'm sorry, Hunter. You're wrong.
Right? And like he's not gonna have time for disc golf, anything.
Nope,
Like
nothing.
He may get some free time, but I think he's gonna want that free time to sleep.
Yep. For
So,
sure.
He's gonna have a rude awakening, but you know what was it, 4 months for you after they got on a regular sleep schedule?
Yeah, roughly. I mean, that, and I'd wake up with them at night sometimes to help Kat so she can sleep, or I'd go get the bottle warmed up for her or whatnot. So it just depends.
Right. That's cool.
But yeah,
Heck yeah.
it's a rude awakening. If you don't have sleep now, you won't have sleep then.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I'm just testing out some audio features on mine. I was seeing if I had the big bottom turned on, the extra bass. I do, because I did a YouTube video that'll be coming out on this channel. I was working on it last night, which was Tuesday.
Yeah,
think.
Tuesday.
Yeah, and so it's the Springfield Hellcat Pro versus the Glock 48. Just kind of comparison between the two. And I was using the shotgun microphone, and I was having, again, issues. I don't know what's going on. I think I do need to just go ahead and get the Rodecaster Pro 2, because it was.
Just blame the vacation.
I was getting so much room noise, like it was picking up everything, like the AC back there blowing, like it was spiking into my levels. I'm like, what in the world's going on? And if I talked, it was like clicking, and I'm like, what? So I don't know. I was having trouble.
You just have an excuse. That's
I
what you
know. So like, and I thought I fixed it, and then most of the video is good, but then there's a couple clips where the audio just for some reason decided to go crazy and sound like really echoey. I'm like, oh my god. So I'm trying to fix it in post, but you could tell there's a difference, but it's short enough of a clip. It's like I don't want to shoot that. So so tearing down between the podcast setup and like a YouTube or product review is a pain in the ass, because there's a lot, because we have multiple microphones and usually multiple cameras for the podcast, and if you do a review on a YouTube video, you got to change the lighting, remove all the mics, and it's just change the cameras, and yeah, it's not very fun.
Just a little time consuming. That's
Yeah,
it.
it
That's all
is.
it is. Time.
Yeah, if I win that Mega Millions, I am gonna have
A studio.
an actual office studio like out of my house that has a podcast setup over here, and then just a regular YouTube setup over here.
There you
And I'm
go.
getting a Rodecaster Pro 2.
Have them both.
Man, I can't imagine my microphone collection that I would have if I were to win. Because I already have an addiction now. I got
just about that. What about guns? You got to think about that.
yeah. Well, that's a given. I'm definitely gonna have a lot of guns, but my
Yeah.
mic collection's gonna go up too. I got several on my Amazon cart that I want to buy. It's like I want to sell that Blue Spark SL. I don't use it. It was cool. I wanted to try it out. I did a review on it, and I don't know. It's more of a streaming mic, because if you put it in front of you, it's like takes up a lot of room.
Yeah.
So, and Hunter's the only one that uses a condenser mic.
Yeah, because he can't graduate to dynamic.
Nope.
Dang, Hunter, it's all your fault.
Right. So, well, cool. I don't know if this is. Of course, it's just getting watered down, so that might be why it's getting a little easier to.
Yeah, it's got a little bit. You can start tasting the flavors once it's watered down a little more.
I mean, it's not bad. Would I buy it again? Probably, but I wouldn't go out of my way. If it's between this one and the Jameson Black Label all day.
Yep.
But
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.
what we should try is we need to get just a regular Jameson and try that on the rocks and kind of see how it compares to this.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's. Ugh, I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't like that. You didn't like the the West Bottoms one.
Yeah, that was weird. I thought I was gonna like that one a lot because
Yep.
I've been looking for it, but
You don't like that one. You didn't like Knob Creek.
yeah, I don't know what it is. Woodford Reserve, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam. I'm fine all day with those.
We need to at some point get the what is it? The Jack Apple, Honey, and Fire, and make those mixed drinks
I've
that
got
they
it
said.
at home, so
Do we have all three?
I've got all three.
Well, when Hunter's on next, I don't know if we can't do it next week because we have
Special guest.
special guest next week, so we'll be doing that. So maybe the week after we do that, and 'cause there's like several different ways you can mix all of them together and get different flavored. So yeah, I want to try that.
It was good.
And then another week, my wife bought me this like smoked old fashioned kit. So I want to do that on the podcast. Hunter's like, oh, it's gonna smoke up your office. I'm like, not really, because all the smoke's gonna go into the glass.
Yeah, it's a glass cover and it smokes it that way.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so if it a little bit, we'll have the fan on, but
Yeah.
that smoke smells so good too, though.
Yep.
But we'll try it out one of these weeks. That's gonna be because we gotta have the butane lighter out and that's gonna be an involved podcast with that. But
Yep.
well, I guess so. Well, we can move on to our main topic right now. And as you could probably tell by the title, it's that guns are good and they do save lives. There's been several examples in the news recently. And I don't know if anybody that out there watches a lot of YouTube or anything, but I subscribe to Colin Noir. He's a big gun Second Amendment advocate.
Yep.
Who's I don't know if he's a practicing lawyer anymore, but he used to be. So he's very knowledgeable on everything and just a huge gun nut. And he gets a lot of information out there that people should hear or need to hear because, yeah, the news may say, oh, a little snippet of something good with a gun, and then that's it. Not front page like a actual, somebody was killed in this shooting, and that always makes front page. But if a good guy with a gun, they'll report on it, but it's not front page, or they do it really quick and move on to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever notice that?
All the time.
Right? So that's what we're going to talk about, and I do have a clip of a part of his video on the actual news story that's recent. You may have heard about it in the news. There was a shooting at an Indiana mall, and a constitutional carry citizen stopped it and saved a bunch of lives. And he was praised by the police department for doing so. And there were some anti-gun groups that had something to say. The one in particular, which I'll bring up her comment, but she got so much backlash, she took her tweet down. And it's like, really? Like, you just got proven wrong, and you're going to come back with something that makes no sense and is ridiculous?
Yeah.
So,
go figure.
Right. So I'm going to play the clip really quick. That's a tongue twister. But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the actual news article. If you're listening on audio only, you should be able to hear it. So let's go ahead and get that on here.
Her granddaughter was in the food court, traumatized but safe, thanks to Shay's boyfriend, Elijah Dickin. The 22-year-old from Seymour took down the mall shooter. Investigators say Eli, within seconds, stopped the suspect, pulled out the pistol he was carrying under the constitutional carry law, steadied himself against a pole, and fired 10 rounds from 40 yards away. The suspect tried to go back in the bathroom, but instead fell to the ground.
His actions were nothing short of heroic. He engaged the gunman from quite a distance with a handgun, was very proficient in that, very tactically sound, and as he moved to close in on the suspect, he was also motioning for people to exit behind him. We could not find that he had a permit. He was carrying legally under the constitutional carry law. Many more people would have died last night if not for a responsible armed citizen that took action very quickly.
So you're telling me a good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a gun?
Wow. What a concept.
So guns aren't always bad.
Really? I did not know that.
Exactly. Like that's mind-blowing. So, and again, constitutional carry, for those that don't know, it's basically, and a lot of states do have this. Your typical anti-gunning states don't have it, but basically what it is it's your constitutional right to carry, basically conceal and carry a gun without a permit. So like here in Kansas, you can get a concealed carry license, which you're able to conceal carry not only in Kansas, but then you can take it across state lines, and any state that recognizes that concealed carry license, you can conceal carry in that state. Each state's different with their constitutional carry, but typically that only applies to that state. So like in Indiana, you can really only carry concealed in Indiana without a license. But if you go across state lines, that's when you want to have that concealed carry license just in case, because you can't live in Indiana and then take a gun and conceal and carry it over in, say, I'm not going to say Illinois because it's not gun friendly, but
Nebraska.
say Nebraska, yeah, without a concealed carry permit, because it gets a little funky.
Yeah.
But constitutional carry, if it's legal in your state, you can carry without having a permit, which should be obvious because every state should have that, because it's your constitutional right to protect yourself. And in this case, that worked. The funny thing is, the mall there in Indiana has its on. If you walk into a lot of malls or department stores, you'll see that no gun sign or no firearm sign.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't take a gun in there, conceal and carry. So you can conceal carry, and as long as they don't kick you out, it's fine. The only way that you're going to get in trouble is if they see it or ask you to leave, and then you refuse to. Then that becomes an issue. But if you're concealing and carrying, most of the time nobody even knows that you have a gun on you, so it's not going to become a big deal. And so, whatever, it's not like a federal law or anything. Just because that sign's up, that you're going to get in trouble. You only do if they find out that you're carrying and actually confront you about it and ask you to leave, or go and put it in your car and then come back in. So a lot of people see these no gun signs in these places. You can still conceal carry in there. You can't open carry, obviously.
Yeah.
But conceal carry is just fine. And in this instance, thank God he ignored those signs and was carrying, because he saved, obviously, a lot of lives there. And
did you notice how many shots he shot?
Yeah. And that also brings up, Colin Minor also brought this up too. That brings up another thing. It took him 10 shots. Again, this kid's 22. So, and when you're in a stressful situation like that, I mean,
that and what he was, 40 yards or 40 feet.
Yeah, and shooting a handgun. So he probably had a relatively small handgun that are not only hard to shoot, but especially at a distance. So it's going to take you some shots, more than like 3 or 5 rounds, to actually hit your target and stop the threat. And a lot of the states want to limit the amount of rounds that you can carry. New York, and I think a lot of other places, even Colorado, limit you up to 10 rounds. If that kid would have needed one more round, he would have been screwed.
Yeah, been disaster.
Yeah. So, I mean, 10 rounds sounds like a lot, but if you're in a stressful situation, it's really not. Or if there's multiple, like if there were multiple shooters, who knows what would happen at that point.
Yep.
I mean, 10 rounds is not enough, especially if you have a smaller gun that isn't, kicks, and you can miss the shooter, and
there's more than one shooter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so that just proves right there with Joe Biden's argument. Oh, well, you shouldn't need more than 5 rounds. Okay, buddy. Well, there's a lot of things that come into play there. I don't think Indiana has any magazine restrictions. I don't know.
I don't think so.
It's different by every state. But so yeah, that's just one story where a gun was used to stop what would have potentially been a mass shooting.
Yeah.
In a public area. And a lot of people that go to the malls don't carry a gun on them because, you're going out shopping. A lot of people don't think about that. What brings an issue up are like federal buildings, so a school and stuff. But before we get into that, I want to show a clip of, I think it's a tweet from the leader of, I think it's the Moms Against Gun.
Something like that, or something against.
She's the leader of one of the biggest gun anti-gunner companies or whatever. But so this tweet, she put this up and got so much slack for it, she removed it. But when she heard about this, she tweeted, if you're not watching on video, I'll read it to you. I don't know who needs to hear this, but when a 22-year-old illegally brings a loaded gun into a mall and kills a mass shooter armed with an AR-15 after he already killed 3 people and wounded others is not a ringing endorsement of our implementation of the Second Amendment. What?
Yeah. Illegally, huh?
I don't know who needs to hear this, but when a 22-year-old illegally brings a loaded gun, it is not illegal. that's where we go back to, just because they have that sign up there that says a no gun zone, it only is illegal if he was asked to leave
The premise.
or remove that
Yep.
weapon from him. Obviously, he wasn't, and the police did say he was carrying legally, and that wasn't an issue. So that's a stupid argument on her part. And he brought a loaded gun. Why would you bring an empty gun, first of all? Like, I'm going to carry around an empty gun. That just sounds like, because I feel like
I'm pretty sure a lot of these shooters go to these places because of those signs sitting there saying no one's going to be even remotely have a gun because of this sign. But if that's why these mass shootings take place.
So the shooter already killed 3 people and wounded others. If we didn't allow, if constitutional carry or just, guns were, say this was like in Illinois or New York,
Yeah.
and obviously that kid would not have been able to carry there, and who knows how many people this would have shot, because you have Paul Blart, the mall cop, that is trying to protect the crowd of people in the mall. He ain't gonna do crap.
Yeah.
And how long is it gonna take for the
Police
actual
actually
police
show-
to respond in the mall? Especially, malls are huge, and depending on where this is, it could take them a lot of time to respond. And there could have been so many more deaths in this. But her argument here is just the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, really? And she did get a lot of bad feedback on that, and took that tweet down. But Shannon Watts is her name, and I think it's the Moms Against the Gun Coalition or something like that is what it is. But yeah, that's
So everyone listening, go to her Twitter and light it up.
like, what would you want? So you would have rathered more people die than him legally carrying a gun to protect himself and obviously others in this point. And again, he was not. She says he's illegally carrying a loaded gun. He was not. He was legally carrying the gun under the constitutional carry, as the police just said.
Yep.
It was completely illegal. So who the hell is she to say that? She just knows that
It makes her image look bad.
Yeah.
And what she's trying to get across bad.
Exactly. And so this is kind of what the news place said about the gun-free zone. The owners of a mall where the shooting took place Sunday had a policy in place making the location a gun-free zone. That, again, it's a gun-free zone. Unless it's a federal building, then you can conceal carry in there unless you're asked to leave. So that's just kind of where that...
I didn't know this, but after watching that call-in, you know who came up with the gun-free zone?
Joe Biden.
Yeah, I was like,
So this is actually our next thing. It's under the Gun-Free School Zones Act, and Joe Biden brought this up because he wants a gun-free zone to be in the school, which, fine. But like the Texas shooting,
or any school shooting, matter of fact,
I think this means that even cops can't carry guns in there, right?
they should. I don't think it applies to them.
Okay, because that makes sense.
Yeah,
But so under Joe Biden's Gun-Free School Zones Act, it's an act of the U.S. Congress prohibiting any authorized individual from knowingly possessing a loaded or unsecured firearm at a place that the individual knows or has reasonable cause to believe is a school zone. So if you go to a school, you legally cannot
have a gun with you.
Which, a lot of places, if there's a teacher that is comfortable with having a concealed carry gun to potentially stop any threat, they should be able to. But because of that,
They can't.
There's
I can't remember.
I guess that's, again, the states can kind of have their own adaptation and make that legal. But most schools, actually all schools, are gun-free zones. And then anything that's federal. So if I know we do have constitutional carry, especially in Kansas, but I do recommend getting your concealed carry license because you learn a lot that you don't think of. And one of them is that you cannot carry a firearm on federal property, which includes, say you go to the post office.
Yep.
That's federal property right there. So you technically can't carry in a concealed carry or open carry. gun into a post office. You can't have it on a drive-through. Like if you were to get stopped by a federal agent, that's when you get in trouble. Generally, if you're going to get stopped by a local police, as long as you got some cool police, they'll probably let you go. But those feds, no.
They don't play.
No. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I saw a while back on the news, I think it was a principal and like 2 teachers were carrying in a middle school. And like the news people went and asked all the students there, like, do you think it's okay that your teacher and principal are carrying? And all of them said, yeah. And they're like, well, why? Because that makes us safe from anybody coming in here causing harm. It's like, even these little kids have the common sense to know, like, hey, we're protected by our teachers from anybody coming in here and shooting us up. That's interesting.
So I'm gonna be Shannon Watch right now. Okay, so yes, if you want to carry guns during Second Amendment to protect yourself, but if we just got rid of guns in general, then you would not need to have a gun to protect yourself because you would be safe because there's no guns. Correct?
Unless there's criminals in a city where they can get guns.
But they shouldn't be able to because guns are illegal.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to, but people do.
But how do they get guns if they're illegal?
There's this thing called the black market, and there's other platforms that get things into countries and smuggle.
So you're telling me criminals don't follow the law?
Yeah, it's just like the border control, you know. You're not supposed to illegally come into the U.S., but how many illegal immigrants are here?
They're all legal in Shannon Watts' probably. But yeah, like their arguments are always, oh, well, if we just got rid of guns, then this won't be a problem. Yeah, well, if anybody wants to do harm to somebody, they're going to find a way no matter what to get a firearm, and it's usually not that hard.
Yeah.
Or they're going to find another way to do it.
Yeah, that or go to any home store and you can make one.
Right. And knife in other countries where guns are like you can't get them, and sure there's a lot less gun crime there, but there's mass stabbings.
Yeah.
People getting run over by vehicles. Like there's other means, and they're going to find those other means to get it done.
Yep.
You just don't have a way to protect yourself because you're supposed to really rely on the government and the police. But in most cases, like the small shooting,
police couldn't have got there in time.
No. Like 3 people, yeah, he killed 3 people and injured several. Could have been way worse.
Yeah. Because who knows how many magazines he had on him.
Mm-hmm. That
aren't 10-round magazines, I'm sure, with an AR.
It pisses me off that they always use an AR.
I know.
Like, really? You can't use anything else. Like, God damn it.
Well, it's America's gun. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just about everybody in America has one.
Yeah. Fuckers.
I mean, what do you expect? Just like a knife. Everyone's got a knife just about too, and there's how many stabbings, so.
Yeah. So her argument there was just ridiculous. And that's just one instance that recently happened. There's been a lot you just don't hear about. You may, like I said, you may hear about it a little bit, but
yeah,
then they're like quiet it down and move on to something else. Oh, there was another shooting here where a good guy wasn't there to stop it, and multiple people got killed. Yeah. It's like, God. So that's what sucks is people, and since they don't focus on this a lot of people do miss these type of news articles where guns are good and they do save lives. They just hear the ongoing argument of how guns are bad and all these mass shooting. It's like,
yeah,
look,
we got to limit what you can have, what you can't have.
Yeah. If that was a state where you were limited to 5 rounds, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah. You've been SOL, and let alone if it was more than one gunman, because that'd be even scarier.
Yep. But yeah, I definitely recommend. Constitutional carry is awesome.
Yeah.
But I do recommend taking a concealed carry class because you do learn a lot. Alan and I took that several years ago now, and it's just stuff you don't think about. And they do bring up that no gun zone stuff. And it's like, yeah, you can leave your gun in the car, but you could also conceal carry it in there, and which is actually legal unless they tell you to leave.
Yeah, and if you're concealed carrying, how they really going to know if you're doing it right?
And if something happens and you stop a shooter, they're probably going to not say a lot. Like, oh, well, why'd you have a gun in here? They're like, oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for protecting us.
Thanks for being a hero.
Yeah. Like, And this kid was 22. It's a good thing he was smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
That could have been a lot worse. And there's a lot of like home invasion scenarios too, where I saw one recently where a guy with an AK stopped a group of thugs that were trying to break into his house. Like they had guns and they were trying to break in. He went to his back bedroom, grabbed an AK and started shooting at him, and they took off. And this was in Florida, and the Florida sheriffs are like, yeah, this guy is not being charged because there was an obvious threat to his life and he was protecting himself.
Yep.
And they have the stand your ground law there, I think. So their laws, it's going to vary by state, but luckily they have that. And if your life is in danger in your home and you need to use that gun, you can without getting in trouble.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then I saw something else. Of course, there's more stuff coming out with the House and Joe Biden wanting to ban like 40 different types of AR-15s. They're trying to really push the AR-15 ban.
Oh man.
Yeah, but luckily, I don't think it'll pass the Senate. It'll pass the freaking House, the flying colors.
Yeah.
But luckily, right now we have the Senate.
I don't know. I'm ready for a new regime completely.
Ready for 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do? Oh man. So I guess there's really no. So if Joe Biden say he's going to run?
Supposedly he's running.
Supposedly. But
Yeah.
dude, if you look at this guy,
I don't think he'll win if he runs.
He doesn't have the mental capacity to.
No.
Like,
they're already judging that. Like, does he have something wrong with him medically wise? Like, he seems very forgetful. It's like, very forgetful. Listen to him talk. You can tell there's something off.
he probably doesn't write a single speech, which most presidents don't, but he cannot go off topic or off that speech because Trump would go off that speech all the time, but at least he was coherent and made sense.
Unlike him, it's my word. You trust my word.
Yeah.
I don't have to trust you. What have you done for me? Nothing.
But and like my dad said, not even just because I don't like his politics, but just as a general human being, it's like, dude, this guy probably needs to retire because he is
losing it.
He's suffering. Something's going on. I mean, if you see Barack Obama from when he started office to the 8 years later he came out, he aged so much.
Yeah, they say it's probably one of the fastest jobs you'll age.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
Probably
would
the stress.
I would never want that job. People either love you or they hate you. You can never do anything right, or you do, and it's so stressful. And there's a lot of stuff that we don't know that they have to make, but that would be every president that you see. They age like crazy in their term. Joe Biden comes in here already being like old as hell, and it's so he's aging quickly. I don't think that guy, just as a regular human being, has another 4 years in him.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's no way unless freaking he goes and hides and Kamala Harris or whoever he has as his VP
take over.
basically is his face.
Yeah.
It's like, God.
Yeah, there's something else I saw that. Did you see in the news about Southern California and Mexico?
What about it?
How the gas prices in Southern California were like $4.50, but Mexico had it for like $3.23, and so everyone was crossing the border to fill up. And they're like, oh, I thought Putin in Russia was making our gas prices higher. Why is it cheaper just across the border than it is right here? Not even 5 minutes.
The old JB.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's gas price.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I'm trying to look up, there was something else I wanted to bring up. I need to start making show notes. But, if you guys aren't subscribed to Colin Noir, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
He has a lot of awesome informative videos, and
he knows the law really well.
Yeah, and same thing with Mr. Guns and Gear.
Yeah.
He does a lot of reviews, but he does bring up stuff, especially if it's a lot of stuff with that's what it's gonna bring up, the ATF thing. So he posted a video today or yesterday that the ATF was going to, I forgot where this happened, but somewhere where there wasn't a lot of crime. So what happens if you legally purchase, you can buy as many guns as you want at once. It doesn't matter. Like if you can legally purchase as many as you want, but if you buy more than 2 pistols, either within 5 days from a same dealer or have them transferred at the same time, then, and this is just pistols. I think it varies by state, but here in Kansas, if you can buy like 10 rifles, and I don't have to do this, but if you buy more than 2 pistols at a time or within 5 days from me, I have to send a form to the ATF and the local sheriff's station that, hey, I disposed of multiple handguns to this individual. And it's basically just a form that lists, the make, model, serial number, and everything of each gun. And then the information that you would find on the Form 473 of that person. And they say it's to stop straw sales. So if you say some guy comes and buys 10 Glock 19s. Okay, what the hell are you going to do with 10 Glock 19s? So
in my family.
Right. So they want to stop, that is actually what they want to do, is stop straw sales for you buying all these and then giving them, say, to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, because each one of those people that you give it to technically has to get the background check and fill out the paperwork for that gun for them. So they want to stop that. And then or like say you buy it for like some kid that is too young or somebody that can't get a gun, you're buying it through a straw sale. So they want to stop that. So it does make some sense. But in this case, the ATF went to this guy's house because they found out this whoever he bought the guns from filled that form out, and somehow somebody from the ATF had a bug up their ass and decided to go to his house because they had his address and information and what guns he had. They rang his doorbell and he had the Ring doorbell, so this whole thing got on video of the ATF, and there were 3 of them, like body armor, fully loaded, knocking on this guy's door, and he answers, and they're like, hey, we saw that you bought these guns from so-and-so. We just want to make sure you have these and stuff like that. Trying to be cool at first, but they're like, it's like the ATF is not supposed to have a gun registry.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're
making
like,
one.
Yeah, they're checking up on this guy to make sure, hey, we know you have these guns. We want to make sure you have these guns. And the guys kind of standoffish at first, and they start getting really pushy. But it's like, I think this is this is Mr. Guns and Gear video, and he's like, legally, unless they have a warrant,
they can't come in your house.
They can't. You can just shut the door and tell them to go away. But these guys, they're in full body armor with their guns. Like, that's super intimidating. It's like, like me, I'm like, okay, seeing this on video, I would do this. But I think if I were actually put in that situation, you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I'd probably turn around and say, shut the fuck up, get off my property.
You say that, but, when they're at your house, body armor stuff, I think you're, I don't know. Your mind starts thinking like, what the hell?
Just remember, I'm a tornado. You are a trailer park.
Right. That Dutton over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like these guys are trying to
intimidate you.
Yeah, and they we want to see these guns. No, you don't have the right to know what guns we have. Yep. They were just, and it wasn't like he bought like 5 Glock 19s. They were all different types of guns that, like if you want to buy a Glock 19, but then you want to buy a 1911 because you want different calibers or whatever. It's totally legal. You can buy 5 Glock 19s and keep them for yourself if you want to. Totally fine. But the fact that they are
coming to people's houses,
getting these things and coming without a freaking warrant,
yeah,
and saying they just want to check up on them. They wanted to see the guns for some reason, and it's like, dude, like,
come on.
And a lot of people don't know that unless they have a warrant, you could just shut the door and tell them to go away. But with them looking as intimidating as they did, it's like, this could go bad. So,
got a warrant? Nope. All right, bye.
I think the guy ended up complying, but it's like, what are they doing?
I would have just turned around then and called the sheriffs. I have 3 ATF guys trying to just come in my house without a warrant. What's going on?
Yeah. Luckily, most sheriff departments are
pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, like, they don't like the feds.
Yeah.
Depending on your state, anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. So if that ever happens to you, if the ATF ever comes to your house wanting to want to see your guns, want to know what you have or anything like that, they legally have to have a warrant before you can let them in. Like, you can tell them to go away, tell them to fuck off if you want to.
Well,
but
at that point, would you, if you felt threatened for your life, because they're in full body armor and guns and everything coming up to your door, and you're on a stand your ground state.
judging by the outcome of the Waco situation, I don't think I'd want to go that route.
I'm just saying, stand your ground. You feel threatened for your life.
They did not have their guns pulled, but they obviously had them in sight.
Yeah.
I would want to
3
push
versus
that.
1.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I just shut the door and
Tell
call the
them to
cops. But,
Tell them to fuck off and come back when you got a warrant.
yeah, I'm not gonna start shooting at the ATFs because that's gonna be
That'll be a bloody massacre.
yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But you can think that, but yeah, just remember Waco.
But if they had their guns drawn, that'd be a different situation, wouldn't it? That'd be a touchy subject.
That's when you probably want to call
The sheriff.
the sheriff and or a lawyer at that point.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if they have your like, say that guy put up an argument, and like say they like he was getting really defensive towards the ATF guys, like what? Like I wonder what would happen. Like, would they try to arrest him for being uncompliant? You think, in their eyes, which
I don't know. Because technically you don't have a warrant. You can't come to my house. You can't ask for things.
exactly, but they're trying to
Intimidate
work
you.
around that way.
But
They
you got
say that.
everything recorded too.
They didn't say they didn't read them any rights or anything like that.
Yeah,
They just
so-
said, "Hey, we want to see these." And I mean, you have the main guy at the door, and then there's 2 of his buddies in the background providing support. And it's like, all right,
I plead the 5th.
right. But like, if they were really, really pushy, and you're like, no, and like at some point, what if these guys would have,
Try to force their way in.
yeah,
Because then there's an issue.
but you not knowing that they have to have a warrant.
Yeah.
And then they come in like, and then say you start resisting arrest and all this stuff, would they be able to charge you for resisting arrest at that point?
Not really, because they're not detaining you.
But
Technically-
if they do, like what happens if they actually detain you for, in their eyes, not complying?
I mean, you got everything recorded on your Ring doorbell, so
Get a good lawyer, that's for sure.
yeah.
And yeah, that's one thing. And if you ever check our description, we do have a link to, it is highly recommended if you have guns, but especially if you conceal carry, to have insurance on that. And it's not like just, oh, if you lose your gun. No, it's insurance for if you
something
ever
happens.
if something ever happens, if you ever have to use that gun in a self-defense situation. There's a bunch of companies. USCCA is
Yep.
one of them. Right to Bear Arms is the one I have a link in the description. They have several different plans. But basically, if you ever have to use your gun in a self-defense situation, or you get something happens with you and you're in trouble with the gun or whatever, they have lawyers for you that will defend you. So when you sign up for their program, it's a monthly fee, just like anything else. But they give you a phone number to call if anything happens. And they say, if you have to use it in a self-defense situation, whether you're in the right or wrong, to immediately, before you call talk to the police, like obviously call the police, but before you talk to the police, call them, and that way they make sure everything's in line. So that's definitely something to recommend.
Yeah.
So little plug there. Check out the description for Right to Bear Arms. But yeah, that's if you carry and would potentially ever have to use your gun in self-defense, you definitely want to have that.
Yeah.
Because like that guy, I mean, like they say call a lawyer. I don't know. I don't have a freaking lawyer
Yeah.
or anything like that. So if you have that program, you just call the number that they give you, and
I'm pretty sure
They give you one.
I'd call the sheriff right away if that happened
right.
and be like, you don't have a warrant, fuck off, close the door, lock it up until the sheriff gets there.
But and that brings up a thing where, okay, so if Joe Biden just all of a sudden, or the government's like, we are going to ban, I don't care, like we're just going to take the stance, we're banning AR-15s, and we're going to come after them. You're going to have that situation where they're going to go to your FFLs or any. Actually, they also have a list of any FFL that's gone out of business. You have to turn in the forms to them. So they already have billions of forms. So they're going to go through all the ones that they have and then probably go subpoena the FFL dealers that are in business now and go through it and find anybody that has an AR-15 and go do that. Like, they're going to go to your door and be like, hey, here's this paperwork. Shows that you were the last person to buy this AR-15. We want it now.
I don't have one.
Yeah. What's going to happen in that situation? When are they going to have a warrant to get in your house?
Oh, I'm sure they will.
And then say they do. Say this does, for whatever reason, happen, and they're able to get a warrant to search your house. I wonder, like, if you have a gun safe and it's like they like open up the gun safe and it's like, oh, I forgot the freaking combo. Are they actually going to
cut the safe open?
Cut the safe open, or are they going to arrest you and hold you in custody until one, you decide to open the safe, or two, they break into it for you, or just up and freaking take the whole damn safe? Like, there's a whole lot of things that,
yeah,
like extremes that could happen. It's like, well, what if?
Yeah,
and it's freaking Australia, man. I mean,
we have the right to bear arms.
And
Second
again,
Amendment.
Canada, they freaking straight up banned handguns, like just out of nowhere.
Canada's going crazy. I
Yeah.
don't know. Have you seen, like, they're starting to go after YouTubers? They're coming out with their own thing where you have to get permission from the government to
What?
actually, yeah,
To just talk about them?
like be on YouTube. Like, if you have a YouTube channel, we're filming, you got to get a license through Canada that allows you to film saying that you're Canadian. It's like this,
Like just any type of YouTube video?
yeah, anything, because you're not. Yeah, it's weird. You got to be part of this identity for it and stuff. It's weird, man. Canada's got some.
What the hell's going up there in Canada?
I don't know.
What the hell?
Yeah, I saw that like 2 days ago on like one of my car channels that I watch, because the one channel I watch, they're all Canadian, and they were bringing up like this some CRF 15 or something, and they're like, we don't know what we're gonna do yet. We don't know how this applies to us. If we got to move to the States or what's going on.
So you're gonna have all those freaking stupid liberal actors moving to Canada, and then you're gonna have all those guys moving to the States.
Maybe.
That's funny because, you know, when Trump got elected, there were so many actors that are like,
I'll move out of this country.
we're moving out of the country. I'm renouncing my citizenship. Guess who never left?
Yeah.
Any of those guys.
Liars.
Yeah. It's probably because Canada wouldn't freaking take them.
Yeah.
It's like, no. And yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, those people use their influence to
Persuade whatever they're political.
people. Yeah, that's so Peter McKinnon, who's a Canadian that does like photo stuff. He's got like over 5 million subscribers. To say that he's Canadian on YouTube, he has to.
There's some laws or something, like you got to prove that you're Canadian, that it's Canadian based channel and stuff. It's like a whole
That's
bunch
only
of,
if you say in the video that you're Canadian.
No.
No?
No, it's like, I don't know, it was weird. I'll have to go back and look at all of it, but it's,
Yeah,
I was
do
like,
some research on that for the next one.
yeah, I was like, what in the world?
Huh.
I was like, this is crazy. Like, there's like 5 stipulations and you got to meet like 3 or 4 of them, and it's got a point system too. Like, if
For
you're
YouTube.
Yeah, for YouTube, for filming. Like, it's like if you are Canadian and you're a director, you get like 20 points. If you have a co-star or whatnot, that's a certain amount of points. And you got to have so many points. You got to meet certain amounts of these criterias.
Are they trying to tax people on that, you think?
I think so. I think that's what this is all going. They're trying to get a cut.
Oh, God, I hope fucking Biden doesn't see that in America. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are people that make a lot of money on YouTube videos.
Yep. So I was like, ugh.
And then people need to realize, you know, those people that make a lot of money on YouTube, it's not just from YouTube. They have tons of different revenue streams, from sponsorships to affiliate programs, everything. It's not just from YouTube. Yeah, they may get a percent, like a good chunk of that from YouTube ads, but really YouTube ads you don't get crap from. It's all affiliate marketing, sponsorship, and stuff like that. So yeah, let's hope the government doesn't freaking start taxing us on
like, what
YouTube.
the world?
God. And that's why it does help to live in a democracy, because they can't just up and decide to do that, or just take away handguns like Canada did. It's crazy. Man, we thought Canada was friendly, eh?
Hey.
Well, cool. Well, you got anything else on that subject?
No, I'll look up more on it for next time though.
That's cool. Cool. Anything else?
Not that I could think of.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up because that was basically the whole podcast about guns and this whiskey. So cool. Well, stay tuned next week. We're going to have Jessica from Eclipse Holsters on as a guest. She's going to join virtually because she is, I believe, in Virginia. So
16-hour drive.
yeah, that's going to be a recorded one. I do not want to do that live because when we tried to have Hunter on live, ran into some issues. But I also did find out not to have YouTube on your computer running at the same time because that will
Mess with it,
especially if I have this fader up. But yeah. Keep a lookout for next week. That'll be a cool special episode. And check out this Shotgun Studio. I got some other videos. And I think by the time this podcast comes out, I'll have the Hellcat Pro versus the Glock 48 video out. So check that out if you're interested in either of those guns. Because I've grown to really like the Hellcat Pro.
Yeah, no.
Like, it feels really good. And it's funny because I really like the Glock 48. It's a single stack. They are almost the same thickness and size. The Glock 48 has a longer slide, but they are almost identical. And it's like you get 5 more rounds in a double stack in the Hellcat Pro. Why wouldn't you just carry that?
And the grip on it is real nice.
Really nice. It's got a luminescent front sight, where the Glock 48, you just get the Glock sights. And I do not like the Gen 5 grips.
No.
Like,
Gen 3 is my favorite by far.
Like, I get like people complain, oh, it's too grippy, it hurts my hand, but shoot, man, if your hands are sweaty, you need that grip.
Yeah.
And like I was sitting there, I'm like comparing the two. I'm like, man, I would much rather have the Hellcat Pro as a carry gun for that reason. And I just like Springfields, and my wife loves Springfield too, so she would probably be totally for that purchase. Or just me not selling that gun. How's that?
Yeah, probably that.
Because I don't buy guns anymore. I just get it through the business and decide not to sell them.
Yeah.
Like that shotgun that's in this closet. Oh, and one last thing. So you know how Aero Precision has certain Cerakotes, right? So forever they've had the burnt bronze. You could generally find the either lower, sometimes the receiver set of that burnt bronze Cerakote.
Yeah.
They finally released burnt bronze handguards.
Really?
So I have today, the receiver sets just came for the upper and lower and the burnt bronze. And I just ordered the burnt bronze handguards. I'm going to sell a set. I'm going to build one. So yeah, unfortunately I cannot show the build on YouTube, but I can show what it looks like after. Like I could do a before and after. I just can't show you how I build it, or maybe.
I wonder if you could do like a time lapse where it's sped up
and just not title it "How to Build an AR."
Yeah,
I guess, and kind of work around that, or I could throw pictures like on a podcast showing the process. I just can't tell you how to do it, but a workaround may be, hey, this is how an AR-15 works.
Yeah, maybe.
But then I'm sure somebody will find it and take it down.
Probably.
But I'll find something. But it looks cool because I love that burnt bronze and black. My Glock 43, I have the slide that I had Cerakote in that burnt bronze, and it looks awesome. So I'm excited for that. Because they, for the longest time, like they had the receiver sets in that color and even the tungsten, but they never came out with a handguard in that color. And they finally did.
Nice.
Yes, I'm excited for that. So I'm going to sell one and build one. I'll eventually sell that rifle, but it'll be a cool build. I have everything I need to build one, so why not, right? So I'll also keep a lookout for that. That might be the gun of the week when I build it. It'll be the featured gun of the week.
So what should the gun of the week be next week? Who's doing that?
It's going to be a surprise.
All right.
Yes. Actually, we'll have the guest do it. We'll have Jessica say.
See what her gun is for the week.
Yeah, I'm interested because I want to talk to her about the holster making process and how obviously being a female in the gun business is, I mean, there's not a lot, and so we'll talk to her about that. So
that'll be interesting. I can't wait.
Yep. So hopefully I don't have any audio issues and everything goes smoothly. That's why we're going to pre-record it just in case.
Yeah.
So keep a lookout for that. Again, like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, follow us on all those other platforms as well. Check out our Instagram. We do some stuff over there. I'll post it up here, and the YouTube videos. I don't know my screen name, so I'll have to do it in post. So yeah, we will catch you guys on next week's episode.
Have a good one.